You're welcome back to the Lighthouse tutorial series, and today is day 4. And if you've been following up on the syllabus, today is the day that we create our very first web page. So in this video, I'm going to be introducing you to basic HTML structure, how to write a web page. We're going to be learning how to add images, and I'm also going to be introducing you to some style sheets. The reason I'm going to be introducing you to some style sheets while we're doing HTML is maybe just to make our website look a little bit more presentable and make it easier for you to learn CSS when we start it. And also I'm going to be telling you about some things like when good pages go bad with some errors. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is to download a text editor. For that, I just head over to the Google Play Store. The code editor for most people who use their phone to program is called SPCK editor. So I'm just going to download it. As you can see, it's lightweight, and even though it's lightweight, it's very powerful. Let's just give it some time here. And it's done installing. Okay, good. So let's open up SPCK editor. Good. Now this is SPCK editor. I had to uninstall it. I actually had some stuff I was using it to do, but I'm just going to start all over again. So yeah, let's create a new project. So in order for us to create a new project, I just head over to this part here where I'm tapping, and I head over to the workspace. I've already done that, so I can create. Make sure it's registered in your external memory and create. So we want to create a HTML document, so HTML5, and let's call this maybe our first web page, and create it. So we don't really need these two things here, so I'm just going to delete them. We don't need them right now, so I'm just going to delete it and head over to the index.html. So I'm just going to erase all of this here and start over from the beginning so that you understand how we got to this point. Okay, good. So let's get started. The first thing we need to do is a document declaration, and to declare a document type, we simply type this in: doc type HTML, and just close this tag. Now this is a document declaration. When our browser wants to read this code, it needs to know what type of document it's dealing with here. That's why we're writing a document declaration, and in this case the type of document we're dealing with is a HTML1. The next thing we need to do is to open a HTML tag. Oh, sorry. I was going to do this here. Let me start all over again. Documents declaration. HTML. Then we open a HTML tag. Now, opening tags and closing tags is just like opening a bracket and closing it. Now, HTML, when you want to open a tag, you simply put in a less than symbol first, and a greater than, and a greater than symbol, and in between the less than and greater than symbol, you write in the type of tag you want to open up. And in this case, I'm opening up a HTML tag. So the one without the backslash is called the opening tag, and the one without the backslash is called the closing tag. These are called element names in HTML. Then the next tag we'll be opening is the head. So I'm just going to put this in head. Now if you've noticed, without me even closing the tag, this code editor closes it automatically for me. This feature is called IntelliSense. It's called IntelliSense, whereby your code auto completes by itself. So let's continue. Now in this head section, I'm going to be introducing you to two things here: meta names and title. So let's first declare our meta name. So meta char sets is equals to UTF-8. Then we close it. This is just some Unicode, some encoding. That is actually bulk here. I'm just going to leave a link in the description below where you can read about Unicode. There are also some meta names that are used in search engine optimization. I think I made mention of search engine optimization in day 2. No, it was in day 1. Yeah, I made mention of search engine optimization in day 1. So in case you want to refresh your memory on that, just head over to day 1. The next thing we do, we open up the title tag. Now there are some other meta names that are used for responsive web design. I'm going to introduce them to you later. I just want to take it step by step so that you know what each one does. So the title, let's call this. Now when you want to create a web page, you always need to think of the type of content you want there. So in my case, I just want to talk about our first web page. So I'm just going to title this as our first web page. Good. Our first web page. Nice. Then the next thing we do is to open up a body tag. And we've opened up our body tag. Nice. Now let me just go through this again. The first thing we did was a documents declaration. Then we opened up HTML tag. Now this HTML tag is where everything related to our HTML code will go. Then the head section. Now things in the head section don't usually get displayed along with the content. They are just things that do work. They are part of the front end, but they are not really visible. The one that you actually see in action, is this title, then some of the meta names too, but you won't actually see this meta char sets, the encoding, in action. So let's get started. So our first web page. And also let me congratulate you on writing your first line of code. You did that when you declared this document type. So welcome aboard. Congratulations. Our body. Now what do I want to write about? So I'm just going to give this a title of our first web page. Now there are some certain elements that you use to give your document more structure, but remember I said that we'll be taking it step by step, so I'm just going to start with my content first. So let's call this our first web page. Good. Then about this web page. Let me just, okay, nice, about this web page. There's student. Full stop. Good. So next thing. Nice. So this is just what is going to be contained in our first web page. Remember, I will be adding a little bit of style sheets to this, and I'm also going to show you how to add images. So let's run this. And nice, as you can see now, this is it here. That title that we wrote, this is where it is, our first web page. As you can see, where I'm dragging our first web page. Nice. So now, I won't lie to you, this looks very ugly, and I'm very sure you're thinking the same thing. So let's give this document structure. Now, I want this our first web page to be a header tag. So let me just give this a header 1 tag. Let me just close it here. Header 1 tag. Nice. Our first web page. Now, header tags number from 1 to 6. So you have H1, 2, 3 down to H6. Each of these header tags represents different sizes. So header 1 is the biggest, header 2 is slightly smaller than header 1, and the list just goes on and on down to header 6 being the smallest. So let's just run this, and as you can see, our web page has more structure. Now let's head over here and I'm going to be talking more about these text elements. We call these text elements. I'll be talking about them, I think, is it in the next video or so. So header 2, just going to close this with the backslash. Nice. So let's run the code. Aha. And as you can see, it has more structure. Then I'm going to give this a paragraph. So this is a paragraph element here. And let's run it. Nice, everything looks a lot better. Now if you notice, even though I added a paragraph, that this didn't actually make any changes to our web page. Now that is because if you are passing in plain text inside your HTML document, your browser just renders it as a text. It doesn't find any specific markup elements, so it just renders everything as a text. So let's run this, and yeah, everything looks great. Now I still want this to improve. I want it to look better, so I'm just going to add an image. Now I'm going to show you by default where SPCK editor saves your files. So by default it saves it in your Android folder. I don't know why it does that. I'll look for a way to change it so that our files are going to be more accessible. So it's still using the data section here, io.spck, our first web page, and this is it here. Nice. So there's an image I want to use here. So it's in my download folder. And by the way, you see this game here, Ninja Flappy Bird. Please go ahead and download it. I'll leave a link in the description below. A friend of mine actually made it, and it's really awesome and addictive. I'll also drop a link to his profile too. So logo.png, sorry, not share. Just going to copy this to my internal storage, Android data io.spck files on our first web page. Now, the reason I'm copying this to the same file as where our HTML document is so I can access it directly. You can also access it from external storage mediums, but that will be discussed in the part where we learn about links in HTML documents. So that's just it there. So in order for us to call in an image in our HTML documents, we use the img elements. So img, right? Sorry, this just broke my code. So img, now it recognizes this. It recognizes that we want to call in an image. So I'm going to pass in the source of this image. That's what src stands for. And where this image is in the root directory. So this is logo.png. It already detects it. Then we need to set an attribute name to logo.png, then an attribute name. Now, if your link breaks or your image is no longer available, you need to set an alternative text for it. That's what this attribute name does. So I'm just going to pass in the alt as logo, and finally I will close up the img tag. Nice. And let me run this. Nice. As you can see, it's called in the image here, and we've successfully added an image to our web page. Nice. If you notice me, I've been checking the time. I just want to keep this video simple and short while also trying my best to explain. Now, I don't really like the way it is here. I'm going to introduce you to maybe one or two breaks here. We call them thematic breaks in HTML. So I'm going to be using a break line element that's going to bring this header one tag, this particular text here, to the next line. So our image looks standard on its own. So let me just do that here. This is a break line element. For that, you simply pass in br. Nice. So let's run this. Aha. Our image is on its own, and so is the header one tag, and that looks nice. You know, we started out with a very ugly web page, and step by step with HTML we've given this structure. The next thing we're going to be doing is to implement style sheets into this our documents to make it look more presentable. Now we have different types of styling. We have inline styling, embedded styling, and finally inline style sheets. We have external style sheets and embedded style sheets. Now inline style sheets, you only just place them where those your particular elements are. External style sheets, you are calling them in from another source, and embedded style sheets, you are placing them in the same documents as your HTML file. So in this video, I'm just going to be introducing you to the embedded style sheets. So call in embedded style sheets, just underneath your title tag, just type in style. Nice. Style. So in this style, let's pass in the elements that we want to change. So my header one tag, let me just do this. Now you need to open up curly braces to pass in rules that you want your header one tag to follow. So I'm just going to do that here. So I want the text align to be center. This auto completes my code for me, and it's very easy. It actually makes you more productive. So the text alignment should be center. Nice. and as you can see, it has been centralized with the image and all. Now that is nice. And let's also move further. Let's head over to my header 2 tag, and in my header 2 tag I'm just going to do the same. The text align should be center. Beautiful. Sorry, it's center with T-E-R. Center with C-E-N-T-E-R. So yeah, that looks nice. So the next style I want to change is the style of the entire HTML documents. Changing the style of the entire HTML document will affect every single HTML document, every single HTML element there. So let me pass in the HTML rules, style sheet rules that I want it to follow. Then let me also talk about something real quick. Now, when you want to name your documents, don't use spaces. Instead, use underscores. It's going to make it easier for you to link, so you won't experience any breaks. I just remember that I actually named mine with spaces instead of underscores. That's from me. So always use underscores, and any special symbols, just do away with them, so that you won't have any problem linking your pages in when you are working. So I called this index.html, so that's nice. Index.html. So HTML. Now what do I want to change? I want to change the color of the text to white. Let me go with white and close it. Now at the end of each style sheet rule you pass in, always put a semicolon. This shows that you are through with that particular elements that you want to change. Always put a semicolon. Then what other element do I want to change? I want to change the background color. Now we have different ways you can change your color. You can pass in hexes, or you can pass in color names directly. Now hexes gives you a wider range of colors for you to choose from. Maybe I'll leave a link in the description below where you can find some cheat sheets there with some hex colored names. So the background color I want to use is 357cc7, and I'm just going to close this. This is for blue. So nice. As you can see, our document looks a lot better and warm. Starting off with something ugly, and we actually got this. This is very nice. So yeah, that's just this basics of creating our first web page. Now what if you have some errors? Now we have some cases where some good pages go bad. I'm just going to show you one of those scenarios here. Let's say for instance, now I forget to close my header 2 tag. See, I forget to close my header 2 tag. The browser recognizes is that I'm just opening header 2 tags, so it's actually going to make all of these header 2 tags here. So when I run the code, you see it's a header, when in this case I want it to be a paragraph element. So just make sure you close all your tags properly. So I'm just going to close this. Where errors usually come in is when you forget to close your tag. Now look at this. If you've noticed in some web pages, they actually make this mistake. Look, I forgot to add a less than symbol. And when I run this, you see it just buffers it there. and that is very, very unprofessional. So when creating a web page, you need to be careful. And we also have people who we call code reviewers to review your code. You might not see the error, but they might see it. So let's just carry on. So yeah, our web page is back to normal. So congratulations, you've just made your very first web page. This is actually very simple. In the next video, I'm going to be introducing you to how you can mark up text. So I will see you guys then. I'm also going to leave a link in the description below with some questions for you to answer based on what has been taught in this video, where you can test yourself. I'll be talking about HTML names. I'm also going to be giving some element names, whether one or two things have been misplaced or they are correct, and some could just be written more efficiently. So with that being said, this is the end of this video. Don't forget to share the lighthouse with your friends and like and subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video, where we learn about marking up text. Till then.